Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 25, the Glories of Devotional Service. So, we are in the section 31 to 44, where Kapila Muni is further answering the queries of Mata Devahūti. So, now comes the next shloka, again a super excellent shloka. I have very special connection with this shloka. That in Kunj Bihari temple, when this shloka was going on, and in Radha Vrindavan Chandra temple, when this shloka was going on in the morning reading series, incidentally, I had given class on both of this. One senior brahmachari, he told me this, who had taken notes, Gaur Leela Prabhu. So, very, very beautiful, amazing shloka this is. We'll come to text 35. We'll recite this. Paschanti te me ruchirani ambasanta.
Paschanti te me ruchiranyambasanta.
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
2 more times. Paschanti te me ruchirani ambasanta.
Paschanti te me ruchiranyambasanta.
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
Paschanti te me ruchirani ambasanta.
Paschanti te me ruchirani ambasanta.
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
So, when we go in front of the deities, this verse is describing various deities that we take darshan of. Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Kunj Bihari, Gaur Nitai deities, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Balaji Bhagwan, or the various different deities. Here, Lord Kapila is describing the same thing to his mother, Amba Devahūti. Yeah, translation.
Translation. O my mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form, with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me. Purport. Mayavadis and atheists accept the forms of the deities in the temple of the Lord as idols, but devotees do not worship idols. They directly worship the personality of Godhead in his Archa incarnation. Archa refers to the form which we can worship in our present condition. Actually, in our present state, it is not possible to see God in a spiritual form because our material eyes and senses cannot conceive of a spiritual form. We cannot even see the spiritual form of the individual soul. When a man dies, we cannot see how the spiritual form leaves the body. This is the defect of our material senses. In order to be seen by our material senses, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts a favorable form which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha, sometimes called the Archa incarnation, is not different from him. Just as the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts various incarnation, he takes on forms made out of matter, clay, wood, metal, and jewels. There are many sastric injunctions which give instructions for carving forms of the Lord. These forms are not material. If God is all pervading, then he is also in the material elements. There is no doubt about it. But the atheists think otherwise. Although they preach that everything is God, when they go to the temple and see the form of the Lord, they deny that he is God. According to their own theory, everything is God. Then why is the deity not God? Actually, they have no conception of God. The devotee's vision, however, is different. Their vision is smeared with love of God. As soon as they see the Lord in his different forms, the devotees become saturated with love, for they do not find any difference between the Lord and his form in the temple, as do the atheists. The smiling face of the deity in the temple is beheld by the devotees as transcendental and spiritual, and the decoration of the body of the Lord is very much appreciated by the devotees. It is the duty of the spiritual master to teach how to decorate the deity in the temple, how to cleanse the temple, and how to worship the deity. There are different procedures and rules and regulations which are followed in temple of Vishnu, and devotees go there and see the deity, the Vigraha, and spiritually enjoy the form because all of the deities are benevolent. The devotees express their minds before the deity, and in many instances, the deity also gives answers. But one must be very elevated devotee in order to be able to speak with the Supreme Lord. Sometimes the Lord informs the devotee through dreams. These exchanges of feelings between the deity and the devotee are not understandable by atheists, but actually the devotee enjoys them. Kapila Muni is explaining how the devotees see the decorated body and face of the deity and how they speak with him in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very beautiful verse this is. Paschanti, they take darshana. What darshana? Paschanti te me ruchirani, with great delight. The beautiful forms, Ruchirani, Amba, oh my mother, Santa. The devotees, they take darshan of the deities. Paschanti te me Ruchirani Amba Santa. How are the deities? Prasanna Vaktra, Aruna Lochanani. They have the beautiful smiling face, deities, right? Prasanna Vaktra, Aruna Lochanani. And the Aruna means the rising sun, morning sun. Their Lochana, their eyes are like the rising morning sun. Rupani, these forms of the Lord, Divyani, don't think these are material or stones. They are the transcendental forms. Rupani, Divyani, Varapradani, they are always giving benedictions to the devotees. Varadaraj, these are the always giving benedictions to the devotees. Sakam Vacham Spruhaniyam Vadanti. And the devotees, they speak to me favorably and express their mind. Oh my mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form, with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, Varapradani, and they also talk with me favorably. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Mayavadis and the atheists, they consider deities in the temple as idols. But the devotees, they are not stupid to worship some stone or idol, right? In fact, devotees consider that a Kṛṣṇa Bhakta sei bada chatur. He is considered to be very, very intelligent amongst the yogis. Okay, the Kṛṣṇa Bhaktas or the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, they are considered to be very chatur because they can very finely balance material and spiritual aspects of life, converting matter into spirit and move on in the life. So they are not some stupid people who are worshipping some stone. right? As it is taught by Mayavadis and the atheists. They are worshipping Archa incarnation. Now, Archa incarnation, there is a detailed, the Vedic Shastra, which is called as Shilpa Shastra and the Archa Shastra, where there are detailed instructions about how the deity is to be carved, which are elements can be used. The stone that is used to carve the deity is called as a living stone, and there are certain characteristics of the particular stone which is used for carving. And therefore, these deities are never to be considered as idols. And this is the first offense, which is the first mentality, hellish mentality, where Padma Puran explains this. Arche Vishnu Shiladir. Consider Vishnu Archamurti as Shila, as only the stone. Arche Vishnu Shiladir, Gurushu Naramatir, Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. The top three offenses are: consider deity to be the stone, Arche Vishnu Shiladir, Gurushu Naramatir, considered Guru as any ordinary person, Sadharan Manushya, Vaishnava Jati Buddhi, and thinking Vaishnava from the perspective of Jati. So these are the top three offenses in the devotional service. Prabhupada says, why there is a deity? Right? Why deity? Because when the living entity comes to material world, all he can see is only matter. Right? Now, the Lord is spiritual. Forget Lord. The living entity himself is spiritual, soul, but living entity cannot see soul. In fact, even the modern science, means all glories to allopathy, but they have analyzed the body like to its, to finest depth. And there is no soul because you cannot see. The soul is spiritual, right? You are using a wrong instrument to see the soul. Like somebody, he closes his eyes and through the ears, somebody wants to see. However hard he may try, however intelligent he may be, however genuine and bona fide he may be, however good intent he may have, he will not able to see through the ears because he is using the wrong instrument. Right? Similarly, the modern science, they have come to some region in the heart. They say that, yeah, there is a region in the heart which is, which is the source of all the energy. And there is I'm not a bio student, and there is all this pulsating plus minus signal is coming, and this is the source of all the energy and entire pumping and everything is happening, and this is where the soul is residing. But we searched really deep inside, we cannot see the soul. How can you see the soul, sir? Soul is Satchidananda Vigraha. How can you see Sat, eternity, Chit, knowledge, Ananda, bliss? So the Prabhupada says, if you cannot see the soul in the heart, you cannot see yourself, who is the soul. How can you see the super soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now, out of great compassion, the Lord comes in the Archa form. Now, what you can see? I can see only paint, I can see only wood, I can see only stone, I can see only sand, I can see only, cloth. These are the things I can see. Lord says, okay, no problem. I will come in a form which you can see. You can see stone, I will descend myself in particular that stone, so that when you carve it according to us, according to Shilpa Shastra, Archa Shastra, not some whimsical stone, right? And when my pure devotee invites me in that, I will personally appear there so that you can see me. Right? Prabhupada says here, in the present state, it is not possible to see God in his spiritual form because of our material eyes and senses cannot conceive a spiritual form. Right? We cannot even see the spiritual form of the individual soul. When a man dies, we cannot see how the spiritual form leaves the body. If you remember, we have read this Science of Self-Realization, and there is a big discussion with Dr. Kovur, who is considered to be one of the pioneering doctor in cardiology, the field of cardiac. And there he says, I can very clearly see at the point of death, something leaves the body, and the body, the temperature will suddenly start falling, body luster will go. And this I can see after this, I'm concluding after doing thousands of heart surgeries. And this is way back in 1960s, when this was a very, very preliminary and founding science. Right? So Prabhupada says, one cannot even see the spiritual form of the individual soul. When a man dies, we cannot see how the spiritual form leaves the body. That is the defeat of our material senses. Right? That is the defeat of our material senses. In order to be seen by our material senses, the Supreme Lord accepts a favorable form which is called as Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha sometimes is called as Archa incarnation, and it is non-different than the Supreme Lord. Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. You are not idle. You are actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no difference between the deity and Kṛṣṇa. We have seen this one day. Srila Prabhupada used to make his disciples speak Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada used to hear, sitting as an audience, just to train them. And one devotee said, so the Lord is in the deity. And Prabhupada immediately raised his hand, and Prabhupada said, so Lord is in which part of the deity? Lord is in the hand of the deity, leg of the deity, heart of the deity, heart region of the deity. Which part of the deity the Lord is? And this devotee was very confused. And he said, Prabhupada, you only answer. So Prabhupada said, Lord is not in the deity, Lord is the deity. Right? Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. This is a very special form of the Lord. Apparently, this appears material, but it is not material. And therefore, it is said one should not go too close to deities, except one is doing the direct service to the deities. Right? Also, it is said that the deity is the most helpless form of the Lord. What is the meaning of most helpless? Means the deity will 100% depend on the devotee. Just like a newborn child will 100% depend on the mother, similarly, the deity will 100% depend on the devotee. Why? So that devotee can get unlimited devotional service to the deity. We have to cook for the deity, we have to dress the deity, we have to bathe the deity, we have to sing songs for the deity, so that unlimited service is created for the deity. And this sometimes creates some confusion in the minds of atheists and Mayavadis. Srila Prabhupada says there are many Shastric injunctions which gives instructions about carving the form of the Lord. These forms are not material, neither they are whimsical. Right? So when you are carving form of Kṛṣṇa, very detailed description of the Supreme Lord is given. What is the height of the Lord? What is the height of Radharani? What is their age? What is their smile? What is the smile, the type of the smile? How much he smiles? Everything is given in the Shastras. Right? Venum kvanantam aravinda dalayataksam. It is not whimsically we are putting some more pankha there. Right? Venu aravinda dalayataksam. Barhavatan samasitambuda sundarangam. Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this is the form of the Lord, Venum Kvanantam. Right. Now the Mayavadis, they say, no, these are only stones, they are not the deities. But their own philosophy, they say, no, everything is God. God is everywhere. So Prabhupada says, if everything is God, by your philosophy, by your stupid philosophy, everything is God, then why not the deity is God? So no, everything is God except the deity. God is there everywhere. Now, according to your philosophy, God is there everywhere. Then God must be there in temple. No, God is not there in the temple. And this is how they self-defeat themselves. By their own philosophy, Prabhupada says, everything is God and God is everywhere. Then why not the deity is God? Right? So, the deity is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. Devotees, they are Bada Chatur. Devotees understand deity is non-different than the personality of Godhead. And thus, they will serve the Lord. They will happily take darshan of the different forms of the Lord. Rupani, Divyani, Varapradani. Especially the smiling face of the Lord. Prasanna Vaktra, Arunalochanani. And devotees visit the temple, behold and visit the transcendental beauty of the Lord. And different decorations of the body of the Lord is very much appreciated by the devotees. Right? So we visit the temple, we say, oh, what a beautiful form. Right? We can see the beautiful garland that is made. You will not believe. There are devotees who will do 6-8 hours of garland seva every day. Hundreds of devotees. When you come to temple and see the garland, because I'm from Pune, I know about Pune temple. We have at least 60 devotees sitting and doing garland seva, 6 hours a day. And then you can see the world-class garland on the deities. You will see the beautiful, the decoration of the deity. You will see the beautiful ambience which is created around the deities. And Prabhupada says, this is how the devotees, they will glorify the Supreme Lord. And this is the duty of the spiritual master, to teach the devotees how to worship the deity, how to cleanse the temple, Now for cleansing the temple, next Sunday we are celebrating Gundicha Marjanam, cleansing the temple. Entire temple will be washed inside, outside, right? And then how to worship the deity. And there are different procedures and the rules and regulations which are to be followed in the temples of the Vishnu. And devotees go there, see the deities, see the Vigraha, and spiritually enjoy the form of the Lord, because the deities are Varapradani, benevolent deities. Such a beautiful purport Srila Prabhupada is writing. Right. So whenever somebody comes across and putting up some nonsensical argument, oh, this, that, or some PK style, lapata hai and all that stuff, you should have very clear understanding of philosophy. And you should be very clearly, with cool head, should be able to defeat the person. That deity is non-different than the personality of Godhead. Why? These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Prabhupada says there are many instances deity is having word with the devotee. Now this is even deeper. Prabhupada says here, let's go word by word. The devotees express their minds before the deity, and in many instances, the deity also gives answers. But one must be very elevated devotee in order to able to speak with the Supreme Lord. Just like we see Srila Prabhupada, he was in establishing the Australia Melbourne temple. And there he went to Radha Gopinath and he said, my dear Gopinath, I am handing over you to very, very inexperienced people here. These boys, the temple president is 19-year-old and other devotees are 17-year-old. And they are coming from completely different culture. Their only qualification they have is they have great enthusiasm and faith in me. So please accept whatever service they are doing. And please do not take any offense if it is committed by them. So this is how, and the deities, and Prabhupada, when he came next time, deities were smiling beautifully. And Prabhupada says that I prayed to the deities, and all the devotees were also very advanced by that time. So this is, sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti. There are many such instances where a deity is speaking. There is a very famous devotee of Varadaraj who is to speak to Varadaraj literally every day. Right? How we can speak to the deities? We also can speak to the deity by conveying our own struggles in spiritual life, by conveying our own, happiness, our own, that we can say that, my dear Lord, I am my chanting, please improve my chanting. It is too distracted. Please make me really more regular in reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I have to do a little more Vaishnava Seva. So whatever is in one's heart, one can always express to the deities within one's mind. Okay, when one is standing in front of the deity and take the beautiful darshan of the Lord. How to take darshan? Lord Kapila Muni is going to give a very elaborate procedure of how to take darshan. Later in the 11th canto also we'll see how to take darshan limb by limb, beginning from the lotus feet of the Lord up to the beautiful eyes and the forehead and the face of the Lord. One should systematically take darshan of the Supreme Lord and express one's mind. Right? So Prabhupada says, and this is how these exchanges of feelings between the deity and the devotee are not understandable by the atheist. Atheists, they are so stupid, they are so param bhava majananto, they will not understand. Just like, the machine cannot understand how the mother can look at the face of the newborn child, and the child is smiling and the mother is smiling, and the child is making some sound, and the mother is also so happy, and the mother is just titillating around the child. They simply cannot understand the exchange of the feeling. Sometimes the mother is crying looking at the child. Right? This was the condition of Dasharatha Maharaj. He was whole day he used to look at the face of Lord Ram, and when Lord Ram is sleeping, he used to come and then keep on looking at the face, and Kausalya used to say, my dear husband, you have to do darbar next day. What you are simply, looking at the face of, you will feel sleepy in the palace for days in and out, days and night you have not slept, simply you are looking at. So this exchange of the feeling cannot be understood by the machine-like people who are atheistic. So Prabhupada says, these exchanges of feelings between the deity and the devotees are not understood by the atheist. They will give some stupid explanation. H2O with NaCl is falling. H2O with some, this is like the crying the tears. And they will say, some tremors are going through the body. Maybe this hormone or, this chemical is overly injected. and they cannot understand the exchanges of feelings, and that's why a devotee is very careful not to express his devotional sentiment in the public. This is the reason why the devotee is very, very careful not to. But actually, the devotee enjoys them. Kapila Muni is explaining how the devotees see the decorated body and the face of the deity, and how they speak with him in devotional service. So, very beautiful verse, which is describing how devotees take darshan of the deity. Okay, we'll just this verse is such a beautiful verse. We'll just recite it once again. Paschanti te me ruchirani ambasanta.
Pashyanti te me ruchiranyambasanta
Prasanna vaktrarunalochanani.
prasannavaktrarunalochanani
Rupani divyani varapradani.
rupani
Rupani
divyani
divyani
varapradani
varapradani
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
sakam
Sakam
vacham
vacham
spruhaniyam
spruhaniya
vadanti.
vadanti.
Yeah, just once again read the translation.
Oh my mother,
my devotees always see the smiling face of my form with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me.
Yeah, so this is how. Now, next verse is equally very, very beautiful. What are the devotional symptoms of a devotee? Right. So we'll just recite this one. Taddarshanairavayavair udara Taddarshanairavayavairudara
Darshaniya
Darshanairyayudara
Vaipudhara
Vilasahasokshitavamasuktay
Vilasahase
Vilasahase
Shitavamasuktai
Rutatmanurtapranamscha bhaktir
Ritatmana
Rutatmanurtapranamscha bhakti
Pranashta Bhakti
Anischatam me gatimanvim prayukte.
Anichato me gatim
Anishchivan.
anvim pravyukte.
Translation.
Upon seeing the charming form of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor.
Yeah,
Purport.
so we'll see the purport tomorrow. Now just go through the translation once again. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, now we have seen Rupani, Divyani, Varapradani. Now they are taking darshan of this, the beautiful forms of the Lord. What is the effect of darshan on the devotee? Right? What is the title of this verse? What is the effect of taking beautiful darshans of the Lord on the devotee? Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, how the Lord is prasanna vaktra, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. Rutatmano, rutapranamscha bhakti. His senses are freed from all other engagements and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Right? His senses are freed from all other material engagements and he becomes deeply absorbed in devotional service. This is Bhagavatam paradigm, not to be mistaken with Bhagavad Gita paradigm, right? So eventually, progressively at a proper age. So one should aspire to become a full-time devotee. At least at the time of one's retirement, one should become, one should deeply cultivate this knowledge and one should start relishing. Progressively the relish should be so much that by the time we retire, by 55, 60, whatever time we retire, 50, whatever time we retire, we should have this deep absorption in Krishna. Right? Here, this is the deep absorption. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and thus he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains the liberation without separate endeavor. Because he is completely spiritual, he attains the liberation from matter. He doesn't want it. Liberation comes and, Muktir Hitvanjalir. We have seen this, Bhakti, Bilvamangal Thakur praying that the Mukti is standing with folded hands at my doorstep when I am engaged in devotional service. This is how Mukti becomes a byproduct for a devotee who is absorbed in, this Pashyanti te me ruchirani ambasanta, and then hearing the beautiful pastimes of the Supreme Lord, chanting his holy names, and performing devotional service. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. So these are very nectarian, verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which are being spoken by Kapila Muni to Devahūti. Very, very special chapter. This is just imagine how many shlokas we have recited. How many shlokas we have recited 3-4 times, right? So these are this is the crest jewel of Bhagavatam. This very specific chapter 3.25. So we'll conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you,
Jai.
Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
everyone. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.